focus was money. Right? How am I going to make that $1 million by the time I'm 25? Or whatever it was, whatever unrealistic expectation I set for myself. The truth is that no matter how much money I made, it never was enough. You know, in real estate, if I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. If I don't enjoy what I'm doing, it doesn't really matter how much money I'm making. Because what am I doing with my life? I'm basically going to work, doing something I don't like doing, to make money to support my life so that I can keep going to work doing something that I don't like doing. Right? And like, I would rather live a short life doing stuff that I love than a long life doing things that I hate or that I don't want to do. What if you were to ask yourself the question, what if money were no object? All right, what if money didn't matter? Then what would you want to do? And my suggestion to you is to drill down inside and find out, you know, what is it that I really want to do, that I enjoy doing? And then choose that for your career. Choose that to start your career.
So when you need to identify somewhere in your head what exactly is the kind of company you want to work for, what is the kind of job you want to have, and then go after it. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And people that just blanketly send out 160 resumes, you can't possibly be qualified for 160 jobs.
No, I've been very.
Don't go and apply for a job that you don't want to do. Or, you know what, you're still young, and if you start doing it, you start working it and you don't like it, then find another job. Because it's horrible when somebody does not like their job and you have to go interact with them.
Better to find that out now than to go into a company and think, I don't really like it, but I think later when I'm making more money, I'm gonna like it. You know, and then 5 years down the road, you still don't like it. You know, those are 5 years you're never gonna get back. You know, and maybe you made some money, but were you happy? No, probably not. You know, and you probably told 100 people along the way how much you hate your job. You know, and we all know all know someone like that. We all know probably a lot of people like that.
A lot about culture now, which you couldn't get before, is on the internet too.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the company's website and see the kind of things they have posted. You look at companies' Facebook pages, if they tweet, what their tweets look like. If you can find people that work for that company, maybe on LinkedIn, if you do a search of that company on LinkedIn and see what kind of people work there. So it just requires a little research on the internet and you can get a good idea. And I mean, that's a really good point, because in the old days when you didn't know, people would come in, I would interview them like, oh, why do you want to work for us? What do you know about us? How do you make a decision? Because I'm going to offer you a job and next week you're going to start. And what if you hate it? I mean, you don't even know if you like it here. So they would base their decisions on things they saw in the lobby. So it's a lot better these days. You can get information off the internet and
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is great.
We were just looking at our company just updated their profile on LinkedIn, and we have a video there, and so you can see employees talking about working there
and why they want to work there. And
the culture fit is really important, you know. And so when we have people coming in, say to the staffing agency looking for jobs, a candidate maybe have all the qualifications for a position, but they're just, you know, maybe the candidate's very formal and very serious, and the company that wants to hire someone with those qualifications is, you know, is just really loosey-goosey, it's really casual, jokes around, and, you know, I may think that this is not going to be a good fit to put this person in this culture, or vice versa. The company's super serious, and the candidate's, you know, more just kind of relaxed and loose.
I'd say it's the look and the feel of a company, the behavior, unstated and stated behaviors.
Things like, do they take an hour lunch, or do they just eat at their desk, or do they do things outside of work? Do they, you know, it sounds silly, but you see employees like wearing the shirts that the company gives out. Are they proud of who they're working for? When they talk about the things they like about the organization, do you get a sense of them doing things that interest you?
Yeah.
The people that you're talking with, can you connect with them?
So before we had this new automated applicant tracking system, we were probably getting upwards of 100 resumes per job. But now that process is totally automated, I'd say it's probably 3x that. So we get like 300. It's a lot. Per job.
Yes, work experience is huge, but also it's really personality. I mean, you have to have the right personality too, because you could have all the skills that you need to be in this one department, but if you're not going to mesh with the people, or it's just you really have to know how to relate with people. Diversity is huge, especially in this world, I mean, and you have to be, it's adapting to change and diversity. And when we're interviewing, you're going through the interview process and you're finding out what everybody's, what they're really about. How do they handle stress? How do they handle difficult people?
You're taking the extra effort today. If you continue to take that extra effort throughout the next few weeks, next few months of your job search, you'll end up in a good spot. I guarantee it, because you're going to stand out. Right? It's people like you that stand out just by being here. And instead of sending a resume to a company just blind, actually stopping by the company, saying, hey, I saw that you had a posting online. I just wanted to see if maybe I could talk to someone here, do a quick interview, have a quick tour, learn more about your company. Just showing your face, showing up in person. You're going to stand out from the thousands of resumes that were emailed to the decision maker.
I don't have an easy answer for how you get your first job. I mean, there's not an easy answer. It's oftentimes just that. You thought it'd go this way, and it turns out it went in this way. You talk to someone, and they said, oh, you should call my friend Bob. He's hiring. And next thing you know, because you just, were talking to Valerie, and suddenly...
No, there's so many places that you can network that you don't think about it. And you say, hey, is anybody else looking for a job? I've been kind of running into a stop here. Anybody know anybody that's looking for somebody? Just network. Talk to people, network, and get out there.
That's such a great point, because I sometimes think people think networking is going to a cocktail party and like schmoozing with people and giving them your business card. But networking is everything. You're networking right now.
Think of the things that you've had experience doing. And I mean, it almost sounds like a cliche, probably because we've said it so many times. But there are things that you do in your life that, though they're not employment, they still speak to your skill set and your ability to show up regularly. So if you volunteer regularly at an organization, if you have clubs that you're involved with, leadership roles in that speak to how involved you can be with something, and the skills that you can learn from that are things that can translate to it.
And that actually would stress, just because of the industry that I'm in, I would highly suggest internships related to the field that you want to go into, so that it really does count as relevant experience. For us, we look at how many years of clerical experience you have, and you may have a year and a half, not have the 2 full years that we're looking for, but you may have half a year of an internship related to that, and that will get you into the next step. So I do always stress that, to get some experience in the field that you want to get into, one way or another.
Ultimately, you want to find something that you're going to be happy doing. Now is the time in your career to experiment with that. So you can afford to get an internship somewhere and a couple months later or a week later find out, I don't like this. Like I'm not gonna like it, so I want to do something else. Better to find that out now than to go into a company and think, I don't really like it, but I think later when I'm making more money, I'm gonna like it.
Our company, Apple One, does not offer internships, but some of our client companies do. It's probably the best thing you can do before you're done with school and get some experience in an office environment. You need to know Microsoft Office inside and out, Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint to the degree that you are capable of learning it. And, really just get some experience as an administrative assistant. Even if that's not the avenue that you're going to take in your career, I think that could probably benefit everyone. And learn how to type. You got to be able to type 45 to 55 words a minute. And I'm not just speaking from an administrative standpoint. I'm talking about a range of different career positions that you'll need those basic skills in.
Let's say, for an example, you're an accounting major and you'd want to apply for an internship in our accounting organization. That would be very applicable and you would be considered. It's tough, though. There's a lot of people that want these roles, so you really have to kind of separate yourself at the top level there. But we offer it and definitely encourage it and see it as a great thing on a resume. The reality too is we have many, many incidences where we have people who have interned after their sophomore year, after their junior year, and then boom, we hire them. And it's a great example.
You know, I love to see that there's this many people here for a
Yes.
4:30 in the
Absolutely.
afternoon meeting. I think it's great. I thank you all for coming because I'm interested in seeing you folks at this time and saying, hey Jackie, call me, you know, how about an internship now? So tell me what direction you're looking at.
And how do you view when you see that you've done an internship or volunteer work, when you see that on a resume, what does that say to you?
It says that there's somebody that's interested in working, somebody that's committed, somebody that's willing to, you know, start and finish.
I'd just like to ask you, how much do you use LinkedIn in your process, and do you go and look at people's profiles on LinkedIn when you're hiring?
Number one. It's the number one
Absolutely
sort.
number
yeah.
one.
We do
It's
it all
Facebook
day,
for
all
finding
the
a job.
time, yeah.
Totally.
It's Facebook for employment. It really is. And people, yeah. I mean, I can't think of another tool that I would say was better. There's not not Craigslist. There's not a job board out there that's going to be better than LinkedIn.
And so if you don't know what LinkedIn is, I always feel like it's a great way for you to kind of have a fresh start with a professional social media page. So you might want to check it out and like kind of put all your career related stuff and your ambitions on that social media and develop it so it comes up as well.
The recruiter is using LinkedIn to source. They're doing word matches and so, you know, they might not be looking for a senior level engineer. They might be looking for someone entry level, and so they're going to find you if you've got the right, you know, match. And just an example, you know, I never kept my LinkedIn profile updated, and LinkedIn is awesome because it'll tell you your profile is only 10% complete, and they'll prompt you to get it done. And finally, you know, like at one point I just got it done, like it's 95%. When I got it updated 95%, I started getting all these recruiter calls, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. So I guess this thing really does work.
It is one of our biggest resources, and LinkedIn is a great opportunity for you to separate yourself from the clutter, because now is a time when you have professors who probably would be willing to write you a letter of recommendation, right? If you've developed a relationship with them, get to know your professors in the beginning of the semester, develop that relationship, and at the end of the semester, ask them to write a letter of recommendation for you. Have an updated resume on LinkedIn, right? That you can build out your profile on LinkedIn so much to where if you've got your resume and a handful of letters of recommendation posted on there, you're going to be in like the 98th or 99th percentile of everybody on LinkedIn.
I can honestly say that I absolutely do. I will look at your Facebook, I will look at your Twitter account, I will look at your Instagram, and I will figure out whether or not you're somebody that's going to be responsible enough to show up to work. If you're doing a keg stand, probably not somebody I want to interview right away. I probably will still interview you because you took the time to go through the process with me, and I will be respectful to be able to give you that time back. And hopefully you'll be able to change your thought process. I see somebody smiling when he looks at that. But you know, when you think about the things that you put out there, I get it. You know, I totally understand it. And just make it private. You know, don't give the world everything all at once. You know, I can't tell you what to put on it or what not to put on it, but just know that it happens. And I know in major corporations and stuff like that now, they're really, really looking at those. And they have people that'll screen applicants through that process all the time. You know, Facebook was huge. Instagram's becoming pretty big with them using that as a screening tool. But it's just things that they're going to look for, just different ways to help them understand who you are and what your character is like. Yeah. What about you guys?
It's a great area for us because we work for the UC system. I work for the UC system, so we have to be consistent. So we have certain policies and procedures that we follow in the recruitment process. But in general, I would tell you.
Hop in really quick with social media as I was thinking about it. When I look at some of the employee handbooks and stuff like that, and some of the different retailers that we work with, social media has been written in there now, so you can actually be terminated for talking negatively about the company or certain things like that. So just to remember that as you guys are, you know, posting.
I'll tell you what I advise students, because we talk about Craigslist a lot, and and there is so much there that there are going to be some opportunities that you want to submit your resume for, but I think that's a little bit unfair that they don't identify themselves.
I agree.
And I think you could say something like, I'm submitting my resume in good faith. I'd like to know more about your company. please let me know who you are so I can do some research and tailor my letter to you, or something like that. And the other thing I say is to proportionally spend time on things that are not sure bets, but things that spend your time wisely. If you're sending a resume and cover letter out to somebody who hasn't identified themselves, I wouldn't spend a lot of time on that. But instead, if you found a place and you're like, wow, I'm really a match for this, you can do some research, you can maybe call the person who's going to be the supervisor, that's where you really want to invest some time. So, kind of think about it in those terms.
Once you find your focus and stuff, and even going through a temp agency for all of you that are unsure of what you want to do, I encourage it, because it's a trial thing. I mean, you go and you try it, and if it's not really like you think, oh, I want to do this IT stuff, and you're doing maybe it's just the computer support, and he gets you a job and you're doing it and you're like, you know what, this is not what I want to do. And guess what? You tell him, this isn't what I want. Can you find me something else? And I mean, that it's a great opportunity. It's a great way to really figure out what you guys want to do, what you like, what your interests are. Maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or maybe it's just that company. I mean, so it's just, there's so many resources out there for you.